Okay, welcome everybody to day 2 of Flourish training. And this is my take 2 start on day 2 because I didn't hit record the first time. Today, we are here to talk about the 3 magic steps that it takes to achieve happiness or any kind of transformation, whether it's a mini transformation or a major transformation. But before we do that, I realized that yesterday I had told you a little bit about my story and kind of like all of the bad parts that had happened to me, but I never shared with you like all of the good parts now. So my life now is amazing. It's completely different than the life that fell apart. So I've created this business doing what I love. I love working with women. It fills my cup. It makes me feel completely fulfilled is really the best word I can describe. I get to do my job from anywhere. I can do it from home. I can do it from Costa Rica. I could do it from France. It wouldn't matter. And I love that. I have freedom and place, independence. That house that I lost, that I told you I had to sell for less than what I owed on it, my mother and I bought it back last year, and it is better than ever. It is literally my dream house, and it was renovated top to bottom, inside out, during the years that I didn't own it. I couldn't ask for a better outcome than that. My kids are thriving. They went through a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression over many of these turbulent years, and now they are young adults out of the house, completely rocking it. And I wake up every day, I am not kidding, excuse me, I'm not kidding, literally excited to start my day. I just realized I don't have my AirPods in. Can you guys hear me okay? You can? Okay. All right, we'll just go with it then. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I had referenced a book yesterday and completely botched the title. And so I wanted to clarify that the book I had referenced by Dr. Joe Dispenza is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That is on my reading list for my next book, and I can't wait to read it. Okay, now.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I just think that's an awesome title. I will post it too in the group. Oh, actually, I think I did post it yesterday. Okay, so now let's dive in. The 3 steps in my mind that you need to take in order to achieve some kind of transformation is: number 1, you have to believe it's possible. Number 2, you have to decide that you're going to go for it. And number 3, you have to be willing to take action. You have to be willing to do something. So now let's explore each one of those a little bit deeper. Okay, so what is a belief? A belief is literally a thought. That's all it is. But it's a thought that resonates in your body as true. Like you either believe it or a thought, or you don't, right? So if you want to go for something, you have to believe it's possible. And you have that choice. You have an option to decide, well, if we go back to yesterday's example with becoming a master gardener, you could choose the belief, it's never going to happen. I can't possibly do that. I can't, like, there's just too many obstacles to overcome. Like, that would be your belief, and it would resonate in sort of a, despairing kind of way. Or you can choose the thought, yeah, I can totally become a master gardener. But here's the thing, you could tell yourself a new thought all day long, but if you don't believe it, it will never happen, because we always act. Our actions are always motivated by whatever it is we're feeling. So sometimes you might have to baby step your way up that emotional scale or that emotional ladder that I talked about, almost as if you have to believe in the possibility of the belief before you believe it, if that makes any sense. So I call that a bridge thought, right? So you may not be able to go from, I can't become a master gardener to I can become a master gardener overnight. But a bridge thought in the middle might be, well, out of all the total possibilities that exist in the world, it's possible I could become a master gardener, right? So, and you just sit on that rung of the emotional ladder for a while, and you don't dip down. You try not to dip down into disbelief, and you believe in the possibility of it. And then maybe once you've stood there long enough, you could reach for the next thought. You know what? I think I totally could. I think I could become a master gardener. And so you really have to work on your belief that something is possible in order to accomplish it. So that's step one. Going a little bit deeper into step two, deciding, like, it's a choice. Like, how bad do you want it? You've got to decide that, yes, I'm going to go for it. And yes, I'm going to commit to it. And I'm going to work at this. And the thing about the decision process is that you need to take responsibility for it. And responsibility, the definition is just the ability to respond. So you get to own it, and that gives you all the power, and that lets you earn all of the reward from it too, rather than deferring and blaming other people. Like, oh, my kids' schedules are too busy, or, oh, my husband thinks it's a bad idea, or, my mom thinks this is the worst thing in the world to do. You need to decide, and you need to own it 100%. And again, this is thought work. It's a mental game, and you need to commit to it. You have to decide, what am I going to let go in order to accomplish my goal? Is it, I'm going to let go of the time I use on Facebook? Am I going to say no to the PTO? Am I going to stay home for one of my kids' games a week? You get to decide. And then step three, taking action. It just means doing something, not just thinking about doing something. This is where a lot of people get stuck. We think about doing things, and we think about doing things, and we think about doing things, but we never do anything at all. We just keep repeating the thought work. And most of the time, or a lot of the time, is because we're afraid. We're afraid to do something because fear doesn't feel good, right? Instead, we kind of just want to wrap ourselves in the comfort of what we know and understand, and what we what feels normal to us. Even if it's not exactly what we want, we get it. We know what that feels like. And also, when you think about taking action, you have to be willing to fail and willing to make a mistake, and be okay with that. Keeping in mind that even when you fail, even when you make a mistake, you're going to learn something from it. You're going to learn from it, and then you can apply it to the next action that you take. Heather, I see you're laughing. Why? Is there a reason?
Yes. I sent you a message saying that your internet got a little buggy at the end of number 2, right before number 3.
Oh, shoot.
And so then Patty texted me and she said, I see you typing. It looks like you're trying to poke me.
Oh.
Because I was on the phone.
All right. So did the video get wonky or the sound?
a combo.
All
Mine
right.
was okay, so it might have been yours.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. I take it all back.
Okay. I shall carry on. Okay, yeah, so taking action, you have to become comfortable with the fact that you might fail, because here's the alternative. Never taking action, you are deciding in advance to fail on purpose. It's guaranteed that you're going to fail if you never do anything. So at least if you try something, you've got a 50-50 chance, right? you're definitely going to learn something, but you may decide, yes, I want to keep going with that, or I want to do something different. So I want to give you a couple of examples. One is a mini transformation that I had a couple weeks ago, and then I'm going to tell you about something that I'm going for that I'm just starting. So a couple weeks ago, a friend of mine and I took a long journey to our closest IKEA. It's 4 hours away. It was long. And I came back with a lot of boxes. I came back with 10 boxes for a total of 4 bookcases and 1 desk. And we, by the time we get home, it was 9 o'clock at night. I dumped them in the hallway, and the boxes sat there for a while because I was feeling completely overwhelmed by the thought of getting them assembled. And initially my thought was, I can't do that. I don't know how to put furniture together. I've never put furniture together. It's certainly not going to be me. And they sat there, and I stepped over them and around them, and they really pissed me off because they weren't putting themselves together. And then I realized, okay, I have 3 choices. I can either put this furniture together myself, I can hire a handyman, or I could ask a friend. So I ruminated on my options. And I decided if I asked a friend, we probably wouldn't be friends anymore. So I scratched that off my list. I mean, that's a lot. Then I thought, okay, handyman. I don't know any. I need to go find one. Then I'm going to have to pay money for it. It didn't feel good. Like, I don't like that choice. So then that brought me back to putting it together myself. And I'm like, well, so I literally worked my way up the belief ladder. I went from, I can't do this, I've never done it, to, well, I've been known to follow directions. It comes with directions. I probably could figure it out. So I opened the box and I got out the directions and I started looking at them. And I realized that there were no written directions. It's all pictures. I'm like, oh, I can totally do this. And so I amped up my belief. I finally got to this place where, yes, I believe I can do this. So gave myself lots of time. It was a Sunday. I continued opening the first box. I laid out all the pieces in the middle of my living room. I was very organized. And I just very methodically went step by step by step. And it took some time, I'm not gonna lie, but I took action and I kept following the steps. And when I took the bookcase like from the floor and pushed it up to standing, I was like, oh my God, I did it. I'm so excited. I figured it out. So then I went and I did the same thing with the second one. And I followed the directions, and the second one came together a little bit faster because I had done it before. I'm like, oh, I learned something, did it faster. The third time, I got a little cocky. I'm like, I don't need these directions. I got this. I got those 2 together perfectly. So I took my action. I pushed it up, put it next to the other 2. One of these did not look like the other. And I was like, oh, what the hell? And I had flipped some trim pieces, a top and a bottom piece. And so now some pre-drilled holes were exposed that weren't supposed to be. And I was like, ugh, well, I could keep it that way, but that will drive me crazy. So I had to take it apart. I failed at number 3. I put it back down. I took the whole thing apart, went back to the directions, reassembled it. And then they all matched again. I was like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm getting so excited. The fourth one went faster. I really didn't need the directions. I made no mistakes, and it was perfect. So I went through all of the steps of a transformation by putting together this furniture. I believed it was possible. I decided I was going to do it, and then I took action. Yes, I failed sometimes, but I kept going. I learned from it, and I became a master. I became a master at building this bookcase. I was transformed. I could put together one of those tomorrow, no problem. So that's a small example, but you can continue to apply the same formula anywhere in your life. So what I'm working on next, what I'm super excited about is I've decided, I believe it's possible that I can own an investment property in a warm place. Now, I don't know how this is going to work yet, but I decided that of all the possibilities that exist in the world, it's entirely possible I could become an owner of an investment property. And so I decided that I'm going to try to figure this out. I've also decided that it's okay that it doesn't happen overnight. I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other. And so I started taking action. One place that interests me is Scottsdale, Arizona, because I used to live there, because I know people there, because I'm familiar with the territory and it's comfortable to me. So I've been taking some action. First, I contacted a local realtor, a friend of mine, and I said, hey, do you know anyone out there that you could give me a referral? And she says, yeah, I think I do. And she said, I'll get back to you. And I reminded her a couple more times, and she's never gotten back to me. So I feel like that dead ended, but I'm not going to let it stop me, right? Didn't work out, so I'm going to take a different action. Then I remembered that a couple years ago, I met a real estate agent in Denver. And I thought, Colorado, that's close to Arizona. Maybe he does real estate in Arizona. And so I reached out to him. I was like, hey, do you do this? Blah, blah, blah. He said, no, but I know someone who does, and I can give you a referral. I'm like, great. And the very next day, he had a name for me. And I'm like, oh, this is great. This avenue, this is working out. So I've been in touch with her, and I told her I'm in no hurry. I don't know how this is going to work out. I probably can't do traditional financing, but I'm keeping this open to possibility. In the meantime, other action that I'm taking is that I'm looking at real estate online. I like that, don't like that, I think this would work. And just one action at a time, and being committed and feeling determined with my belief, there's no doubt in my mind that I will accomplish that goal. It may not be this year, it may not be next year, but it is going to happen. And it's literally just by taking one step at a time. So those are my little stories for you right now. And I want to open the floor to see if you guys have any questions or comments or thoughts. I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to put you on the spot. Oh, there we go. What do you guys think? What do you think about these 3 steps?
I like them.
I agree.
Do they feel doable?
It's doable when you put it in the context of the rungs on the ladder.
Yeah.
The baby steps, you're not going to be a world-class gardener tomorrow, but what can you do tomorrow to move a little bit closer?
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that example earlier, and I thought, maybe the first year, the Master Gardener class isn't a possibility, but maybe you find someone who knows a lot about gardening and you just start picking their brain and hanging out with them, and they can show you some things. Like, it's getting you closer for sure.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So I have a question. When you're in the thick of it, in the weeds, whatever you want to call it, how do you snap your brain back into, okay, I don't need to go from 0 to 100. I can go from 0 to 10. How do you get your brain back to that, the baby steps?
Yeah, and that's the challenge. And like Heather and I were talking yesterday, it is a practice. It's a muscle that you have to develop and I remember, being in that very frantic stage of life with the kids and the dog and the house and the career and the parents and the da-da-da-da-da. And I wish I could like take everything that I've learned since then and go back in time and help that version of me, which I can't. But I think it really starts with your commitment. It really starts with that decision, like, I'm going to figure this out. And I don't have to scramble up and down the ladder. I can at least hold steady for a while. I can at least stay where I am before I work my way up and try not to like fall down 2 steps. But also when you do, give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I took a step back, but you know what? I caught myself. I realized I'm here. I took a step down. What do I have to think next to take a step back up? And it literally is all thought work. Situations in our lives are all neutral. A circumstance is neutral. It's just a thing. And it's what we think about the circumstance that makes it feel positive or feel negative, right? So the fact that, like my kids they always did drama. They were always in musicals and plays. And so every day I'd have to get them to rehearsal, stop what I was doing or interrupt my work and take them and pick them up and meanwhile get dinner. And I used to think, oh, this is just something I have to do. And it's so frustrating and I don't want to do it. And I'd like to think I could go back, knowing what I know now and say, oh, you know what? I'm so excited that my kids get to do this thing. And while they're at rehearsal, I get to do this, whatever this is. I get to clean my kitchen for half an hour and get it to feeling organized the way I like it to be organized and feel really good about it, rather than thinking that I have like 1,000 things and I'm so overwhelmed and there's no way I'm going to get any of them done. Another thing that works well for me is deciding a night before, like what's really important the next day. And then crossing everything else off. Like, I really don't have to call the vet tomorrow. I could do that, the next day, because what I really want to do is, I don't know, drive my kids to rehearsal or something like that. It's really how you choose to think about what's going on in your life that will affect how you feel about it. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's easy to say.
Yeah.
It's just hard when you're at that, I gotta drive the kids, but.
Yeah. It's all choosing your thoughts about how you think about it. So what is your biggest challenge right now?
Oh, I don't know. I have many. Starting a new job and not trying not to, look like I lied. I mean, I didn't, but I'm at that point where I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't what I thought. I didn't. But it's a good thing. It's just, I thought I was up here at my skill level, and it's like, oh no, I'm right out here.
Oh, okay. So it's what you're thinking about your skills that makes you feel like a fraud in some way.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. So what's happening there? Like, what is the situation?
Well, I used to be an admin for a software system, and I got hired on with a new company to help them implement that system with other people. And so, having been an admin, I thought I knew all the things about the system until I got here, and they're like, "Oh, but we're doing this, 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 and this." And I was like, "I didn't even know it could do that." Stuff like that.
And
So
do they know how to do this, 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 and this?
Yes, very well. So yeah, but they're very gracious, and they're like, "Oh, well, you'll get it. It's fine." And I'm very upfront about, "Oh, all right. I didn't know that."
Yeah. So it sounds like there's things that you know better than them, and then there are things that they know a little better than you.
Maybe. I hope so. I hope I can get it that way. But yeah, just trying to catch up and not, look foolish, I guess.
Yeah. In that situation, I might hang my hat on a thought like, I may not know this, but it's totally possible for me to learn. I may know this other stuff. So of course I can learn this new stuff.
Yeah.
And that may bring you some relief. It may feel a little bit better in your body than, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I'm supposed to know.
That's a good point.
Does that help?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay. Because there was a time when you didn't know all the other stuff now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Heather, your turn.
Oh.
She's deflecting. I don't want to talk about me anymore.
Yep. We lost your video, Heather.
This app burns through my battery. I got to plug in. Sorry.
You're upside down. Okay, now you're not.
All right. I don't know. There's a few things. I'm coming. Sorry. Technical difficulties. I don't know how loud I can talk because I'm in my office.
Okay.
But one of the things is, I've been told I have, the power to do things, and, you can get this stuff and you're in charge of this and whatever. But then there's other times where it's like I have to get everything approved 99 times by 99 people that I don't feel like I have any power. So it leads to frustration. And I would just like to be able to kind of push through that a little bit and go, no, this is my realm. I'm taking care of it. You either are on board or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And just be a little more hard ass.
So what if you stopped asking for permission and you just did the stuff?
I have done that, and it's worked on occasion, and then other times it's bitten me.
In what way?
Well, comes back later. You should have done this. Why didn't you ask? And, this would have been avoided had we done this.
Okay.
I don't
know. So when you think about, it bit you in the ass, like, so something bad happened, like
but of course nothing earth shattering.
Yeah. Like, what is the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen if you just do it and ask for forgiveness rather than permission? What's the worst thing?
Nothing is the worst. You might get yelled at. Right.
Okay. So
right.
You're going to get yelled at. So you're going to feel uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. And we don't like to feel uncomfortable.
No, we don't.
But can you handle it?
Of course.
You're a badass, right?
I am a badass.
Right. So that's the thought that you need to focus on. Like, they've given me permission. They have told me I have the authority to do this. And if it doesn't work out and they scold me, I can handle that discomfort.
True.
So how does that feel? Like, I can handle it versus I don't have permission.
I like that a lot better.
Feels better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's a big difference between empowered and disempowered.
Yes.
So reach for the thought that feels better. Work your way up the ladder if you have to.
Yes.
And put it back on them. Like, you gave me permission. This isn't my fault. It's yours.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. I mean, I believe how we feel about our life and in our days is all what we're thinking. That's it. It's how we're approaching the circumstances in our lives.
Yeah.
Because we have circumstances in our lives. Like I said, those are neutral. I know, Heather, you and I have talked about this before. We have thoughts about those circumstances, right? Our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings create our actions, and our actions determine our results. So if you want different results, you have to choose different thoughts that are going to make you feel better and take more empowered action.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to in the moment.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you need to become determined and committed at taking a deep breath, pausing, right? Refocusing your thought rather than feeling you have to respond instantly. Like when we feel like we have to respond all the time, we lose the deliberation. We lose choosing our thoughts. We react. And that often doesn't feel good. Or even if you react in the moment and then later you catch yourself like, oh, I really reacted or overreacted or responded in a way that I really didn't want to. What could I have done differently? How could that have gone better? And just think about it so that you're pre-paving the way for the next time.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow is sort of how to evaluate whether things are working.
Okay.
Or not.
Okay.
But we'll save that for tomorrow.
The enticement.
I'm so glad you guys could join me today. Excuse me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I will post the recording in the group. And I appreciate you participating and asking questions for the benefit of everyone else.
We try.
I know, you're so good. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.